Welcome to Zoom In on the Jags here today. I'm Dr. Jeff Sherman from the School of Health and Human Sciences, and my guest today is IUPUI women's soccer senior forward, Miranda Ricks. Miranda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Couldn't be better. It's a busy time. Weather's starting to get a little bit better, and hopefully this pandemic is coming to an end. That's all I got to say about that. All right. So I got to start off by asking, you come to IUPUI, you're a local person, you're from Avon, right? You were an Oriole. What brought you to IUPUI? You're a senior, and do you remember what brought you to IUPUI?
Yeah, that's a great question. Being so local and so close, I always said like I wanted to go far away from home. Like I didn't want to come to IUPUI just because so many people from my high school come here. So as I was going through my recruiting process, I was looking at several different schools. And at that point in time, I was thinking about studying marine biology. So I wanted to be somewhere like out on the East Coast somewhere, playing out there. And then I don't know, when coach was recruiting me, it just seemed like a perfect fit for me. The girls were all nice, the team atmosphere and team environment is just really what brought me here.
So, you said you wanted to go abroad. Was there anything in your mind? I mean, yes, you said East Coast, but what about the Gulf? What about the West Coast? Were you thinking of any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely looked at those schools. I just kind of searched best programs for marine biology at that point, and I did look at some Florida schools. I thought about West Coast, but it just seemed like it would be a little unrealistic for me to go all the way out there. I think it'd be hard to be that far away from family. The East Coast is kind of like a short, well, not short, but a drive away, I guess, and West Coast it'd be a plane flight to come home. So I don't know. I just think that any of those schools would have been good if that's what I wanted, but
So, you did obviously didn't go to marine biology route, which doesn't preclude you from doing it in the future, right? You're a biology major here at IUPUI. So, what
yeah.
made you want to study that? And how does IUPUI provide a different experience, you know, or maybe has so far during your career?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I obviously, like I said, I thought about marine biology for a while, and then when I decided to commit here, I was looking into the biology program and just the School of Science in general. I think it's a very strong program here. Getting a Purdue degree from the School of Science is kind of a big deal, and I think that my experience here has been absolutely amazing as far as school wise. All my faculty, staff, teachers, professors, everyone has just been so helpful and so encouraging. And I think, I've thought about changing at different points throughout my college experience, but I think the staff and professors and everything is what kept me moving forward. Because obviously, biology is a hard degree. So there were times where I questioned it, but I think that the staff and everything just really kept me in the major and kept me moving.
So what is it about biology that has what was it that attracted you to the science, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think throughout high school, I committed as like I think my end of my sophomore year. So they're kind of like, oh, you have to pick right now what you want to do with your life. And I think that I chose biology just because that was my favorite subject in high school. Like I liked my teachers. I liked the idea of science. I've always been like a science person over math or anything else really. So I think a lot of it is very interesting. So I guess that's kind of what made me choose science, is that was just like what I enjoyed throughout high school.
Did you get to cut open the frog?
I did, yes. Yeah, in a high school anatomy class, we dissected
I
a
loved
frog and a
that.
pig, a small.
I did not do the
Yeah,
pig. I was not there for the pig. I was there for the frog. Of course, this was the mid
that was fun.
90s. For me, it was the
True.
mid 90s. So, a little bit different time. All right. So let's shift gears for a moment. Tell me a little bit about your first year, right? 2017. That's a championship run, right? So, as a first year student, how did it feel to be a part of earning that coveted NCAA tournament berth in your first year?
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a wild ride. Like, that experience my freshman year was something that I would never, ever take for granted. It was absolutely incredible just winning that many games and going so far in the tournament, and like you said, like, it was my freshman year, so I don't know if I really appreciated it as much as I necessarily should have and as much as I do now, I guess. But yeah, it was a fun experience, and especially like just jumping straight into college, like playing that fall season right away. I think it really helped me adapt and like connect with my teammates and with the school in general. So it was a great experience, and I very much enjoyed it.
Tell me what you mean by you may have taken it for granted then, but you don't now.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually in high school, I had a very, very similar path. Like my freshman year, we ended up winning state, had a great team. So I think, and then like the next 3 years didn't ever win a state title. So I think that throughout high school, it kind of made me appreciate it. Going those last 3 years, not winning a state championship, it made me appreciate like what that means. And I think it was very similar in college. Like at the time when you're in it, you're like, this is what it is. Like we're winning games, and this is how it's going to be. But as I've gone out through these next 3 years, I realize it's not always going to be like that. Like we're not always going to have a team that special and a team that great. And I think that you just don't realize it when you're in it. But looking back, it was special. It was a great team, and I was happy to be a part of it.
What made that team so special?
We had just such a strong connection and such a strong bond with each other. Like I could go to any girl on that team and know that they would be there for me throughout anything, no matter what I was going through. I could rely on any of them, and I think that it was like that for all of us. Like we were all just extremely close. I think the senior leadership on that team did a great job making the team so connected and holding different team bonding events and everything. So I think just like the closeness of the team off the field is really what made us so successful on the field and what allowed us to go so far into that tournament.
That's not abnormal. That's what you normally hear from successful teams, right? So, okay. So we've all been impacted by this pandemic that we're still living under. It seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel somewhere, right? So how has it affected you, whether it be mentally, physically, just how have you been affected by this and what types of things have you done to deal with that changes that have happened to our normal life?
Yeah, I think it affects everyone differently, but also in the same way it's hitting us all the exact same. Like everyone on my team is going through the same things that I am. And I think that it's hardest. I don't want to say hardest, but I think it's very tough on us emotionally and mentally just because every day is never guaranteed. Like we don't know if we'll get to be going to practice tomorrow. We don't know if we'll be able to play these last 4 games. So I think that like emotionally and mentally, we just have to be extremely tough and just know that we can't take any day for granted and just have to power through. And I think what I've done to help kind of get through this time is just take a step back and realize that life isn't all about soccer. And I think that in doing that, I've become more like content and I guess happier with my life because I feel like at the beginning of the pandemic, when soccer got taken away so quickly, it was very easy to kind of get down on yourself and just not really like have motivation to keep moving forward because we weren't getting to play, we weren't getting to see our teammates and everything. So I think taking a step back and realizing that there's so much more to life and other things that we can focus on has been a huge help in doing that. And obviously now that we have this season kind of and get to play these games, it's been good to just kind of focus on the relationships that we're building during this time and just bigger, like I said, bigger things than just the sport itself, but just really digging deep into the emotional and mental side of things as well. So I think that's been
How
good.
did how did you change your focus? I mean, how we all it hits us. It all hits us March, 11th, and we get hit in the face. We're sent home. We're not supposed to do anything until we hear otherwise. And then the next thing we know, we're online the rest of the semester. First, walk me through, your response to that. We're talking last spring. So your season was over. You were into the spring season, and which at the time was meaningless. and now all of a sudden a spring season means something. And so, all of a sudden you're just shut down, right? And how did you, I guess, you were just talking about changing your focus. How did you do that with school still happening? Yes, soccer got shut down, but school was still going to happen. How it looked, we didn't know until the last minute. But how did you refocus? What were you focusing on?
Yeah, I think when you when we spend so much time like at practice and at weights and at games and all this, like just pouring so much time into this sport, I think you don't necessarily realize when that goes away how much extra time you do have. And I think just like my mindset shifted towards school. Like my grades were the best that they've probably ever been during that semester just because I had that extra time to focus on school. So I think that still having school during that time helped, what even if it was online, like still trying to focus in and just like do the best we can and learn the best we can in that environment. Um, I'd say my like focus shifted towards school and then just like focusing on ourselves. Like I think our mental health was a big part of that, not getting to see anyone, not getting to be around your friends. As a college student, that's hard to like not see your friends for however long that might be. So I think focusing on like mental health and just doing everything you can to continue working out and continue playing soccer, even if that's like out in the cold on a grass field by yourself. Like I think that's very important to maintain like those habits that make you happy, I guess. So
What was your mindset when you got the call this summer that, you know, we're going back? And then it was like this roller coaster of, oh, we're going back and no, we're not. And we're going back and no, we're not. Right. Talk a little bit about that, I guess, up and downs of all of a sudden you're told these things after months of lockdown. And now you're told something else just days after you're told one thing, and then you're moving in and now you're back in school.
yeah, it was definitely exhausting. I feel like everything that we were told we had to take with a grain of salt because, like you said, it could change at any point, at any time, and it did very frequently. I'm big on like planning and having a schedule planned out, and I think that that just went all out the window because you can't do that when you don't know. Um, I mean, I think soccer wise, we just had to prepare the best we could, and it's hard, like working out all the time and practicing all the time, like doing stuff on your own when you don't know what it's for. Like it's not like, oh, I'm gonna work this hard because I know that I'm gonna pass this fitness test and playing these games. Like we didn't even know if we were gonna get that. So I think mentally it was hard just to maintain like that fitness level of fitness and just like be ready for games because we never knew that when that was gonna happen or anything like that. So
So
yeah, it
you've
was
got
tough.
you've got I couldn't imagine being a student today and have to go through what you guys have gone through the last year. I couldn't imagine it. Nope, I couldn't. So tell me a little bit about what you got going on now, right? You guys have refocused. The fall season was shot down. You move it to the spring, and now you're playing, right? How are you guys able to refocus, get yourself into the mindset of spring suddenly matters, right? And now here you are, 4 games left, right? Talk a little bit about how you've done that and how you've been able to do what you've done so far this spring.
Yeah, I think once we did get that schedule where we were told like this is what's going to happen, we're going to have 10 conference games and this is what you have, and then it's basically up to us to be able to do everything in our power to get to play those games. I think that realizing like in a normal season we'd have twice the amount of games, so I think realizing that we're only given these 10 games and these 10 games aren't guaranteed has really helped motivate us and like kept us moving and kept us working hard. Like we've had a very successful season so far, I'd say, in the games that we have been able to play. And I think that's due to the fact that we realize how important this is. Like this isn't like a normal spring season. This is our fall season. And especially for us seniors, it's like these are the last 10 games and now 8 games that we get to play of our lives. So we want to work our hardest and I guess just make the most of those games the best we can.
What's your future plan? Don't you have another year that you're able to use if you'd like?
Yeah, unfortunately, I will not be using that extra year of eligibility. I'll be done after this. I think I'm ready to move forward, I guess, and kind of start a life for myself. So I'm studying biology, and I've decided that I want to go into medical device sales, actually. So I've been interviewing for those jobs now. So I'll graduate in May, then hopefully start working shortly after.
Yeah, that I don't think that'll be an issue. So, you know, getting that job, there's right now the medical industry is booming for people. So, hopefully you'll get one of those and get quick. So, all right, you've got a few left, right? You've got a few games left. What is your outlook the rest of the way, and what do you think is going to happen?
Oh, looking at the schedule that we have left and the games we have left, I think we have a very good chance of being extremely successful in these last 4 games. And the end goal, I guess, right now is hosting the tournament. If we can find a way to win these next 4 games, we would probably, I would assume, host the tournament here. And I think that that's something that we've never done before, and it would be a cool experience my senior year to be able to be here in Indianapolis. And if fans can come to have family and friends come to those games as well. And I think that would be cool. So I think just focusing on one game at a time. We play UIC this weekend. They're a tough team, and I think that it'll be a challenge for us, but I think that we're ready to rise to that challenge and just play how we have been playing, I guess.
So, what would you tell the young people that are on your team and B in school at IUPUI right now about what they've got ahead of them? They're about to close out potentially their first or second year, right? Or even the seniors in high school that are already coming to IUPUI. You're heading out. You're heading out into the workforce. You're heading out into the world. They experienced it differently than maybe you did, but what would you tell them at this point, from what you've experienced both from 3 years of normal life and now the 1 year of pandemic?
Yeah. I guess I would tell them that things will get better. And even if it doesn't seem like that now, we've been going through this pandemic for however long, like things will get better and I'm sure things will go back to normal. I guess at some maybe not perfectly normal, but things will get better and there will be experiences that they will have that they haven't had so far at this point. And I think that just continuing to work hard and give it their all and keep moving forward is just the best advice I can give. And just don't take any day for granted. When I came in freshman year, those seniors are like, oh, these 4 years go by so fast. Like you'll just blink and it'll be done. And I'm like, yeah, but this is going to be a rough ride. It's not going to be easy. And now here I am a senior and I feel like these 4 years just flew by. So I just would say, like, don't take any day for granted. Like you're going to wake up and there's going to be days that you don't want to go to practice and you don't want to go to weights or film at 6 a.m. But those are memories and times that you'll never get back. And they just go so fast and fly by. So yeah, don't take those times for granted and enjoy it while it lasts.
I love it. I love that. I love to hear that statement come from upperclassmen. Well, thank you, Miranda, for joining us today. And be sure to stay up to date on the latest episodes by following IUPUI Women's Soccer. That's at IUPUI WSOC and the Sports Management Club at IUPUI at SMC_IUPUI on Instagram for all the latest episodes and the past ones, including this one with Miranda. Have a great rest of your day.